Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it quite as good as you. Baby, you're the best. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Smash the like button. If you love me, subscribe if you're new. Please have your say. A very warm welcome to Wednesday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. Basically, right, I need to have a little bit of a rant at Andy Muschietti, the director of the Flash movie. He has made a very interesting statement about Ezra Miller's future or potential future as the Flash movie. He was asked if he would recast the role of the Flash if he got a Flash movie sequel. He said, no way, nobody can play the Flash character like Ezra Miller can. This is a very, very problematic statement. First of all, you're wrong. Grant Gustin is a much more superior version of Barry Allen and the Flash than Ezra Miller will ever be. In fact, Grant Gustin needs a massage from carrying the Flash TV series for just under a decade. But why is Muschietti's statement so problematic? It's problematic, everyone, because Ezra Miller has been convicted of crimes. Parents have accused him of grooming. They're unfounded accusations, but parents of a child have accused him of this. And we've got the director of the Flash movie saying there's no way he would recasting in a Flash movie sequel. First of all, thank fuck it's not up to you, Andy. Second of all, you and I both know you will never get a sequel to that movie. Thirdly, we know that everyone at Warner Brothers doesn't like Ezra Miller. No one wants to work with Ezra Miller, including Flash movie director Andy Muschietti. Of course, what choice has he got but to say, yeah, he's great, he gave everything, they gave everything. You know, of course Ezra Miller gave everything. Of course he's a solid version of Barry Allen and the Flash, but the only actor who can play this character, nobody can play this character better than Ezra Miller. Absolutely not. And what a problematic statement by Andy Muschietti. I understand you got a microphone shoved in your face and you were asked a very, very difficult question. But the other day, Andy was asked about what he would do with a Brave and the Bold movie. He said he couldn't speak about that. All he had to say was, I can't speak about a Flash sequel right now because I don't know if we're even going to get one. That was easy. You could have skipped the question. James Gunn has been asked if Ezra Miller will remain as the Flash in his new DC universe. He says we'll have to wait and see. That's it, right? That's it. But Andy Muschietti has doubled down on support for Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is a problematic character. That's the problem. And many, many people, members of the fans, members of the consumer, do not like Ezra. But that's the problem. You know, nobody really wants, no one's supporting, privately, behind the scenes, no one's supporting Ezra Miller at WB. And he will not continue to play the Flash. It's as simple as that. So if you're an Ezra Miller fan, you know, hashtagging Ezra Miller is innocent, you're insane. Because Ezra Miller is not innocent, right? Simple as that. But they needed him to sell this movie. Although they're not really using him for the promotion, they're using Sasha Calle, they're using Michael Keaton. If they could get away with it, they would get a vagrant off the street and use them as the marketing instead of Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is so bad in terms of selling this movie. But, as I say, luckily it's not up to Andy Muschietti if, you know, Ezra Miller remains as the Flash. And we both know, Andy, you ain't going to get a sequel for the Flash anyway. We know that James Gunn will go down a very different direction. But I am staggered that Muschietti answered this question like this, you know, in full support of Miller, knowing, you know, how many people have disdain for this person. So let's be clear here. Just because Andy Muschietti says that he wouldn't recast Ezra Miller as the Flash, it doesn't mean it matters what he says. It is not up to him. He's not getting a sequel, right? It's as simple as that. All they want to do is make as much money as humanly possible for this movie and move on. So you can forget about that, Andy. But actually blatantly coming out and saying that he wouldn't recast the character, even though he wouldn't have a say in the matter. He hasn't got a say in the matter. But he, of course, can say, if I got a sequel, right, I wouldn't recast the character, because he knows he's not going to get a sequel. We're not getting a sequel to this version of the character. Because let's just imagine if James Gunn kept Ezra Miller as the Flash, and how problematic that would be, how bad of a look that would be. When you're replacing Henry Cavill as Superman, a law-abiding citizen, a gentleman, a really trained actor in the United Kingdom who's never broken any laws as far as I know, and he gets to lose his job and Ezra Miller gets to keep their job. Just imagine, we're just saying. I'm not saying that Gunn will keep Ezra as the Flash, but just imagine if Gunn did, and how problematic that would be. It doesn't matter how successful James Gunn is in developing and molding this brand new franchise. If he was to keep Miller as the Flash, he would start losing support. But I don't believe that James Gunn will keep Ezra Miller as the Flash. I have no concerns about this because I don't see how they can do that. It's not going to work, and the only reason that they kept him as the Flash in this movie is because they logistically couldn't go back and redo the movie, because if they could have got away with it, they would have done. Ezra Miller is the Flash in this movie. Andy Muschietti never cast Ezra Miller. It was Zack Snyder. They're stuck with this person for this movie. So, of course, they've got to look like they're being supportive. But I just think it's very, very problematic when the actor in question, we know there's camera evidence of him attacking a woman. He was arrested by police for jumping into a window of a couple and basically intimidating them, right? And actually stealing stuff from their apartment. That's a fact. That's not hearsay. We know all of that. We know that parents have accused him of grooming their child. These are serious accusations. Now, the grooming, as I say, are unfounded accusations. We have to be clear and we have to be straight, and we can't accuse someone of something that where there's no evidence of in a court of law. I get that. But to stand there and say that there's no way I would recast this person, that nobody else can play the Flash like Ezra Miller, is ridiculous when we've seen Grant Gustin do a much more superior job under more difficult circumstances, because the Flash TV series became a piece of shit from the 3rd and 4th season. First 2 seasons were outstanding, and the Flash series 1 and 2 are much better than the Flash movie, I'll say that. But yeah, when you've got Grant Gustin about, and you're talking about no one else being able to play the Flash as well as Ezra Miller, that's a problem. But to say that you wouldn't recast him publicly, I don't expect you to say publicly I would recast him, but you keep your mouth shut. It's something that New Hollywood are unable to do. This false praise. I don't believe for 1 minute Andy Muschietti worships the ground Ezra Miller walks on, but that's the way it's got to look like. We've seen a lot of BTS of them with their arms around each other, laughing and smiling. It doesn't mean fucking anything. It doesn't mean they like each other. This is Hollywood, everyone. This is showbiz. This is the way it works. But yes, the statement by Muschietti does trigger me, because I think it's a very, very problematic statement to say there's no way I'd recast this person. It's not a good way to answer the question, because a lot of people are triggered by Miller. this could actually hurt the box office of the film. It's one thing to be stuck with an actor for now. It's another thing to be stuck with a movie and needing to release it because you spent records amount of money on it. I get that. I understand why they're releasing this movie, because they have to. But to stand there and publicly support an actor who's been arrested, who's been charged, who's been accused of disgusting things, you know, attacking a woman, right? How many times have we seen, you know, males in this industry cancelled for abuse against women? What makes Ezra Miller so different? One, he has that special Hollywood DNA, right? And of course, we know the other reason as well, because Ezra Miller is a they, them, which gives Ezra Miller diplomatic immunity. And that is another thing we're living in today, diplomatic immunity. If you're a straight white male, it's okay. You pay the consequences for your actions, as everybody should do. I'm not saying anything different. So what makes Ezra Miller so special that Andy Muschietti feels Ezra should get to keep their job, no matter what they're accused of, what they've done? We're not dealing with all hearsay here. We're dealing with a couple of arrests, one charge of breaking and entering. It's ridiculous that a director would stand there and actually say, yeah, I would keep him. I wouldn't recast him. No comment. That's what you should have said, Andy. As revealing as that would have been, I prefer it. And you know, I don't want to go down my Twitter feed and see a bunch of times you talking about Ezra Miller and how great they are and how you wouldn't recast them. And you know, if there was a sequel, Ezra Miller would still be playing the character. As I say, there's lots of people who say this as well. I don't think he's a great Flash. Sorry. I don't think they're a great Flash. I think they're a solid Flash. I think they do a good, solid job. But I think, you know, it's a job many actors of Ezra's age and even younger could do an even better job. So I don't think it's a Christopher Reeve situation. I don't think it's a Henry Cavill situation. I don't think it's a Michael Rosenbaum situation as Lex Luthor. No. You can even debate who the best Lois Lane is, right? But we haven't had many actors playing the Flash, right? So we've had, I forgot his name now. What's his bloody name? I forgot. You know the one who plays Henry Allen in the Flash series? He played the Flash in a prior series to the Grant Gustin show. Then we had Grant Gustin. Then we've had Ezra Miller. You know, but I would put Ezra Miller in the bottom of that list anyway. You know, I don't think anyone puts Ezra Miller, unless you're a Snyder fan, right? A very biased Snyder fan, you know, a fan of the DCEU. But I don't know many reasonable people who put Ezra Miller, you know, above those two prior actors of The Flash. It's pretty obvious to me. But according to Andy Muschietti, no one can play The Flash better than Ezra Miller. It's a fucking joke statement. It's an outrageous statement. And I can't believe he said it. I mean, look, I can say that Andy Muschietti did a good job directing this movie. I was complimenting him yesterday and saying he would direct a really great Brave and the Bold movie. And very shortly we're going to talk about the Brave and the Bold, because I've got a new pick and a new theory as a director. Now, this is not just me. Many people would like this to happen. And the director in question has said that he would love to direct the Batman movie. So we will be getting into that in around 50 seconds. But just going back to the Ezra Miller situation, you can praise them for what they did in the Flash movie. You can respect them as an actor, as I do. But to say that nobody else can play this role, and there's no way that you would recast them in a Flash movie sequel, is a huge problem. Because no matter how many sequels you make with Ezra Miller, no one is forgiving them anytime soon. It's as simple as that. No one is going to suddenly say, look, I know so many people who come into my channel and I exchange views with on social media who tell me, Mick, there's no way I'm supporting this movie. If it wasn't for Ezra Miller's antics, this movie could probably make 300 or 400 million more at the global box office. Now, in terms of projections, it's been projected for a soft 70 million domestic opening. Some fans and analysts believe it may do better than projections are saying, and let's hope it does. It makes no difference to the future and what James Gunn is planning and thinking for the future of DC, whether this film makes money or not. And what you can take as nothing are the fan reactions to advanced screenings as well. The only reaction you should care about is your own. Go and watch this movie if that's what you want to do. If you feel personally, upset by Miller's antics and you're going to boycott this movie, again, I support you. I support whatever anyone wants to do. I will be going to see this movie on opening day. I can't wait to see the theatrical version of this movie and give you a spoiler review. I'm very excited to do this, unpackage this movie, but this movie has nothing to do with James Gunn's future. They're using the movie as a reason for the timeline change, and it's kind of like a backdoor pilot in TV in a way. But this movie was originally supposed to set up a different timeline, which was being planned by Walter Hamada, and now they're doing the same thing, but James Gunn is doing something completely different to what Walter Hamada was attempting to do. We've discussed it before that Hamada was planning on not having a Superman in the DCEU. He was planning on having Keaton's Bruce Wayne more than him being Batman in the DCEU, but Leslie Grace's Batgirl would be the main Bat character, and we would have more HBO Max streaming movies than actually cinematic movies in the DC Extended Universe. So thank fuck Hamada, and that plan has gone, because that wouldn't have worked either. James Gunn's plan is certainly a lot better than what Hamada would have given us, and let's see what happens. But yeah, Andy Muschietti being so publicly supportive of Ezra Miller is very problematic, and it could really hurt the bottom line of this movie. Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors. I love The Evil Dead. I love all three of his Spider-Man movies, yes, even Spider-Man 3, and the problematic elements of that film were not even Sam's fault. The studio interfered with the third movie. People blame Sam for the problems with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The issues with Multiverse of Madness are not Sam Raimi issues, they're Disney and Marvel Cinematic Universe and Kevin Feige issues. I think Sam directed the best movie, at his disposal. Again, he was being controlled. He was in a position where it wasn't his vision. It was somebody else's vision. It was Disney's, it was Feige's, it was whoever else, Chapek, Iger, whatever. Everybody else's vision, but, Sam Raimi's vision. Sam Raimi is one of the best directors of all time. For me, he's up there in terms of superhero movies and other movies with Dick Donner. Dick Donner directed The Omen, one of the best horror movies ever made. Same with The Evil Dead by Sam Raimi. Dick did Superman the movie, a great achievement back in the late 70s as well. And Sam directed that wonderful Spider-Man trilogy. So Sam Raimi, during the marketing era of Multiverse of Madness, he just randomly came out and said, I'd love to make a Batman movie. So yesterday we were discussing Andy Muschietti potentially directing Brave and the Bold and doing a really good job. I believe he would. But if you can get Sam Raimi to direct Brave and the Bold, I will be a lot more supportive of that. Who wouldn't be? But for Sam Raimi to direct Brave and the Bold, he must have 100% freedom. He's got to work alongside James Gunn on the script and the story, and they've got to agree what they want to do. There can be no more directing of Sam Raimi. I mean, somebody else directing Sam Raimi while he's directing the movie, which is exactly what happened during Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. If you allowed Sam to develop that movie and direct and have total freedom, it would have been a different movie. But the Disney shills tried to move the blame to Sam instead of where it should have lied, with at the feet of Kevin Feige, Disney, and Marvel Studios. What went wrong with Multiverse of Madness had nothing to do with Sam Raimi. I repeat, it had nothing to do with Sam Raimi. And I see publicly on the internet they're trying to say that he made certain decisions in certain places. They really have thrown Sam under the bus in terms of Multiverse of Madness, and I'm not fucking having it. Sam Raimi gave me the Spider-Man that I always wanted to see in live action, and I don't give a shit that Sam didn't have web shooters. Sam is a big Spider-Man fan. Personally, it makes more sense to me if I'm bitten by a radioactive spider. Yeah, I can climb stuff and my hands get stuck and stuff, but I also expect to be able to shoot the webs, right, from inside of me. It actually makes logic, right? Now, I know people are so obsessed with being really, really faithful to the source material. I am in places. I mean, listen, I don't know why Sam didn't go with the web blasters. It was obviously the web shooters. It was obvious something that was going to upset the fans. But at the end of the day, it didn't upset me. Sam Raimi is a great fucking director. And I think Brave and the Bold would be an excellent movie for Sam Raimi. Now, he's already said he's interested in making a Batman movie. Now, he's been rumoured to direct the next Avengers movie, but I think that's bullshit. I think there's a really, really good chance that James Gunn can persuade him to make Brave and the Bold, because it's something he's always wanted to do. He's never touched Batman before. That sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? But he's never been involved with live action Batman before. This would be a great opportunity. Get Raimi involved. This gets people very, very excited. We know that Raimi is a great comic book movie director. We know he can do it, but you have to give him the freedom. I understand that James Gunn wants to use these movies to move along his one story arc, right? Which will be spread through, TV, streaming, movies, and gaming. I get that, and that's fine. But Sam Raimi must be fully in control of any movie he makes, because that's when a Sam Raimi movie ends up really, really awesome. If you can't, listen, you can't take someone like Sam Raimi and tell him what to do. And that's what happened with Multiverse of Madness. So I would be in full support of Sam Raimi directing Brave and the Bold. Do I think there's a big chance? Yes, I do. I've been thinking about this a lot. And I know I was talking about Andy Muschietti yesterday, but there's no real evidence that Andy Muschietti will direct Brave and the Bold, apart from him saying, I can't talk about it. Basically, he can't talk about that movie. Basically, let me explain something to you. Gunn and Safran made a big mistake in Zaslav. They started talking too much about the new plan and the new universe while they were still releasing DC Extended Universe movies. So basically, people say, these movies don't matter. I'm not going to bother with them. It hurt Black Adam. It hurt Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Because people know those movies and those actors don't figure in the future. That's a fact. So now they're not going to talk about anything new, I don't think, publicly, or even release the second part of the Gods and Monsters slate until Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is released. It's been out for a couple of months. So I don't think we're going to hear anything else about the new DC universe apart from this and that. And I think we will hear some stuff about Superman Legacy, because James Gunn very shortly should be away from promoting Guardians Volume 3. He's been promoting it a lot longer than I thought he would. I think this will be the 4th or 5th weekend of Guardians Volume 3 as well. So the sooner he kind of goes away from all of that and focuses on DC, the better from my point of view, and I think from our point of view, from every DC fan's point of view as well. But yeah, if you've got the opportunity to bring someone in like Sam Raimi, you don't mess about. You make it happen. Because I'm telling you, if Batman fans hear that Sam Raimi is directing Brave and the Bold, that's going to be very, very exciting and hype-worthy for Batman fans. I think Batman fans have been probably fed better than us Superman fans. And I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm a bigger Superman fan. He's my character, right? Let's look back at Batman. We had the original 60s series, which I thought was unique, brilliant, and thoroughly entertaining. That's how I got to know Batman as a kid, right? Then we got the Batman '89 movie, directed by one of the best directors of all time, Tim Burton. Amazing. And then he did Batman Returns, an even better movie. Batman Forever, a very entertaining movie. And Batman and Robin, which is a really problematic bad movie, but it's entertaining in places. I'm not holding that movie up, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. It's a bad movie that I enjoyed. A bit like Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Then we got Batman Begins by Christopher Nolan. One of my favourite Batman movies of all time, if not my favourite. The Dark Knight. Not only one of the most successful, popular, beloved Batman films, it's one of the, when we do polls, when I see polls like with The Godfather, and, iconic, films like that, Apocalypse Now, The Dark Knight goes up there. He's very close to winning those polls, sometimes wins those polls. So that tells you how well Batman fans have been fed. The Dark Knight Rises gets a lot of hate, but it's a very good film as well. Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, another great version of Batman. Matt Reeves the Batman, another great version of Batman. Batman fans have been fed very well with different, outstanding, compelling, awesome, epic interpretations and adaptations of that character. Then there's the Gotham TV show, which I really enjoyed as well. So Batman fans have certainly been fed very well over the past few decades. And I think, look, I'm not complaining as a Superman fan. We got Superman the movie, Superman 2, Superman 3 solid, Superman 4 terrible but enjoyable for me in places. Superman Returns is inconsistent, but I enjoyed it at the time and I can still go back and have a good time with that movie. I love Man of Steel, I love BVS, I love the Snyder Cut of Justice League as well. And Smallville, what an achievement Smallville was. Probably one of my favourite interpretations in live action of the Superman character. And so we've been fed quite well as well, but we could have been fed a lot better. We're never satisfied as fans, are we? So I think that Superman Legacy is an opportunity to feed Superman fans in a better way. And I hope that's the case. I hope the future of DC is bright. And I think one of the ways of making the future of DC bright is bringing someone like Sam Raimi to direct Brave and the Bold. He's very good at light movies. He's very good at comedy. He's very good at developing characters. He's very good at casting. I think Brave and the Bold and the direction that James wants to go in would be brilliant for someone like Sam Raimi. And as I say, if you can get Sam Raimi, you get Sam Raimi. It would be a missed opportunity if you pumped for Andy Muschietti because you can control what he does over someone like Sam who's going to be more direct about what they want to do. That's a challenge. If you're James Gunn, you should be taking up that challenge in getting Sam Raimi. I have no idea what kind of director they're looking at for this movie. I don't know how far in the development process James Gunn is with Brave and the Bold. He claims he doesn't even know how old Batman is going to be. But he said very different, varied things about Batman's age in the new DC universe anyway, so you don't really know what James Gunn means and says at the same time. I think he knows what he wants from the Brave and the Bold movie. He knows enough to know he wants Damian Wayne as Robin in that movie. And if he knows that, he knows a lot of other things. He may already know who he wants as a director. Could be an unknown, could be Muschietti, could be someone like Sam Raimi. I just think if Sam Raimi wants to make a Batman movie, then I'm sure James Gunn knows that Sam wants to make a Batman movie and has spoken to Sam about doing this movie. Whether that's going to happen or it's not going to happen, that's another conversation for another time. But for me, I would be very, very excited in Sam making Brave and the Bold. And I'm sure it would excite other Batman stans as well. What do you think? Would you like to see Sam Raimi come in and direct Brave and the Bold? Hit the comments down below and let me know. This has been Wednesday's edition of the DC Universe Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Smash the like button if you love me. Subscribe if you're new. Please have your say. Smash the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I will see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.